All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about this incredible, almost magical thing our brains do all day, every day, figuring out what's going on in someone else's mind. It's the skill that basically runs our entire social world. And today, we're going to unpack exactly how it works.
You know that feeling, right? When you just get what a friend is thinking without them saying a word, or you suddenly understand why your boss did that weird thing in the meeting. It kind of feels like you have a secret window into their brain. Well, here's the thing. In a very real biological way, you are a mind reader. And it's not some kind of party trick. It's a fundamental cognitive skill that makes pretty much every single human interaction possible. Now, there's a scientific name for this superpower, theory of mind. And all it really means is that you get this simple but totally profound idea that the world inside your head is not the same as the world inside everyone else's. They have their own beliefs, their own wants, their own view of things, and grasping that, that's the whole ball game. So how do we get this social superpower anyway? It's not like a switch just flips on one day. No, it's this amazing journey that our brains go on. And it starts way, way earlier than you might think. For a long, long time, the story scientists told about theory of mind was all about this one huge moment. This massive mental breakthrough that seemed to happen right around a kid's 4th birthday. This was seen as the moment a child really, truly becomes a mind reader. And you can actually see the building blocks falling into place. It starts super early. Around 9 months old, a baby gets that when you look at something, you mean to. By 18 months, they realize that you might love broccoli, even if they think it's gross. But the final boss of this early development, the big one, is understanding something called a false belief. So how do you even test for that? Well, psychologists came up with this brilliantly simple experiment that has become legendary. It's called the false belief task. Okay, so picture this. This is the classic Sally Ann test. You have Sally, she has a ball. She puts her ball into a basket, and then she leaves the room. While she's gone, Ann comes along, takes the ball out of the basket, and moves it into a box. Then, Sally comes back into the room. And now for the million-dollar question you asked the kid who's watching this whole drama unfold. Where is Sally going to look for her ball? Simple question, right? But the answer tells you everything. And here's the mind-blowing part. A 3-year-old will almost always say the box. Why? Because they know the ball is in the box, and they can't imagine that Sally doesn't know what they know. But a 4-year-old, they'll say the basket. They get it. They understand that Sally is operating on a false belief. She thinks the ball is where she left it. That's the leap. That's theory of mind in action.
For a long time, that was the story. Nice and tidy. But then some new research started popping up, and it threw a huge wrench into this beautiful, simple picture. It created a real scientific mystery. And here's where the plot thickens. You get this massive paradox. On one hand, you have decades of studies showing little kids, toddlers, failing these Sally Ann type tests over and over again. But on the other hand, newer studies using different methods were finding that babies, I'm talking infants as young as 15 months old, seemed to totally get it. How can both of those things be true? I mean, check this out. Researchers using eye tracking found that babies would look ahead to where the person should look based on their false belief. They'd stare longer, totally surprised. If the person looked in the right place, they'd even crawl over to try and help a confused adult. It's wild. They've even done studies where they seem to understand that one little animated triangle has a false belief about another triangle. So this just blew up the whole field. How can a baby be smart enough to pass these intuitive tests, but a 3.5-year-old who can talk and walk and reason fails what seems like a much simpler version of the same question? What is going on? Well, the best explanation that scientists have come up with to solve this puzzle is that we don't just have one mind-reading system in our heads. We've got two. Think of it like this. You've got system 1. That's your early, fast, automatic system. It's the gut-level, unconscious mind reading you're born with. That's what we're seeing in those super smart babies. But then you have system 2. This one develops later. It's slow, it's deliberate, you have to consciously think about it. And that's what finally comes online around age 4. It's not that one is replacing the other. It's just
Two different systems for two different jobs, developing at two different times. And just like that, the paradox starts to make sense.
So what does it take to finally unlock that more powerful, conscious system two? Well, it seems to boil down to three key things. First, you need language. You need words for complex ideas like think or believe. Second, you need what's called executive function, basically your brain CEO, to help you push down your own point of view and actually consider someone else's. And third, you just need tons of social experience, talking with parents, arguing with siblings, playing with friends.
Okay, so this is all really cool brain science, but why does it matter in the real world? Well, because this ability, this theory of mind, it's not just some interesting quirk, it is the absolute foundation of what makes us human. I mean, listen to how researcher Hannes Rakosi puts it. He says it's the very basis for all the things that make us uniquely human, our ability to communicate, to cooperate with each other, to build cultures. Without it, society as we know it just wouldn't work. And you can see its effects everywhere. Having a well-developed theory of mind is tied to being more popular, being more persuasive, being more likely to help other people. It's even linked to doing better in school. Oh, and here's the flip side. You literally cannot tell a good lie unless you can figure out what the other person thinks is true. It's a powerful tool, for better or for worse. So we'll end with this idea. We're all walking around with this amazing, constantly running mind-reading software in our heads. It's built into the very fabric of who we are. Which leaves us with a pretty deep question to think about. If your mind is built to read others, what do they see when they read yours?